2 weeks ago, I was joined by George Cobham Jr. from Glass Van Great Dane as we spoke about LCV equipment requirements. This week, we take a closer look at the converter dolly. George, earlier you made reference to the converter dolly and the pintle hook. Perhaps you can walk us through some of these components?
Well, the lead trailer in an A design has a pintle hook, and it's not just a standard pintle hook. It's got to have an air snubber on it to put constant tension on the pintle hitch. In addition, the lead trailer's got speed-up valving on it, which ensures, a consistent supply of air to the trailing trailer so that the brakes react on the entire vehicle together.
And what about the converter dolly itself? Can you show us some of the components that are involved in that?
Well, the first consideration is the drawbar length for the converter dolly. You want to make sure that you've got enough swing clearance between the lead and the trailing trailer so that you're not getting into a situation where things are getting pinched. Another consideration, which seems pretty straightforward, but it's definitely got to be given some attention, is ensuring that the air lines and electrical lines are not getting pinched or stretched when the trailer's being turned in a tight situation. This pogo stick design, for example, is keeping the air lines, the proper tension on them, and the electricals. This customer's chosen to wrap the lines together. The last thing you want to do is be running over your air lines or having them get cut, pinched. And the same goes for the electrical cord.
Speaking of the electrical cord, there must be a lot more electrical connections on a configuration like that. Does that create some concerns in terms of maintenance? Or?
Well, there's definitely more of everything on this sort of setup, but the late model trailers with the new LED light systems, the draw is so low that it really doesn't cause any concern, provided everything is neat and tidy. The carrier really does not need to worry about anything there. So,
is there any extra maintenance required at all with an LCV configuration?
Well, I think that the carrier has to keep a closer eye on it. One thing on this dolly, this customer's chosen to install brake stroke indicators on it so that checking the brake adjustment is an easier task. And while it is required by law, you want to make it easier for the operator to do that test. So that's one thing that definitely we suggest speccing on all trailer and dolly equipment is brake stroke indicators.
And what about the driver's responsibilities for keeping an eye on things and a circle check and perhaps periodically along the way? What should he be looking for? What are some potential problem areas?
Well, he definitely wants to make sure that his brakes are always in adjustment. I mean, that goes without saying with any trailer equipment, but just there's added responsibility with this type of equipment. And you've got a lot more equipment to keep an eye on, and so lights, the electrical system, while it should be reliable, you just want to make sure that you always have signal lights, your markers are working, and so that is an added responsibility for the driver.